broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hey, this is Daniel Vitalis from SirThrival.com, and you're listening to Justin and Kate on Extreme Health Radio. And I'm just here to remind you to rewild yourself.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on another episode of Extreme Health Radio. I apologize. We are exactly 2 minutes late here. So I apologize.
We've been working on that, haven't we?
We're actually pretty good, though. That's not too bad. Sometimes we're 5 minutes late.
That's just true.
Hopefully you're having a great day wherever you are in the world today. And just before, I was sending a Twitter message to people to let them know that we're live. I forgot to do that.
Too much going on in that brain.
So, Kate, did you have your customary spoonful of One More Way?
I had two.
Did you really?
I did. I had one before walking Maggie and one after. I feel pretty good, pretty proteined up right now.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So we have a great guest today. We're going to be talking with Ian Clark from Activation Products, and he's got a really great magnesium that he talks about. And so we're going to be talking about magnesium and magnesium deficiencies, and we'll introduce him in just a moment. But this is episode number 208, and this is, for reference, Thursday,
February 20th.
February 20th, 2014.
Right.
So if you'd like to make a comment on this show page or get any of the links to the magnesium or anything like that, you can just go to extremehealthradio.com/208. And if you'd like to join our community on Facebook, it would be great to have you a part of that. Go to extremehealthradio.com/Facebook, and you can join the conversation that way. We also just launched a brand new community private forum for our listeners, exclusively for you guys. So if you'd like to join that, you'll see the links to the forum on our website as well. So you can,
and that's been a lot of fun.
That's been a lot of fun.
A lot of good conversations going on.
Yeah, lots of good stuff going on in the forum, and lots of people talking about all kinds of crazy things, upside down enemas and God knows what, right?
Right.
So it's a great place to interact with the rest of the listeners. And if you'd like to support our show, all of our shows, all 208 of them so far, are 100% free. So one of the ways that we support ourselves is through you guys being so kind as to go through our link, extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, anytime you make a purchase there on Amazon, and that will help keep everything free for everybody that wants to continue listening for free. So that's a great way to support us. And what else to get to? Anything else to get to? Oh, if you want to leave a voicemail for us, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/voicemail and ask your question to our guests, and we can play it live on the air.
I love that feature.
Yeah, and also we're live, so people can listen live and join the chat room and ask your questions that way. So lots of different ways to join the show. And Kate, how was your walk with Maggie this morning?
Just beautiful.
Was it good?
It's like 72 degrees Fahrenheit out, and it's only 9 in the morning.
Isn't that crazy?
We're having a heat spell again, which is amazing. Nice. I'll take it.
And did Maggie do her poopies?
Of course she did. She's a good little dog. Morning ritual.
Well, we were talking with Ian before the show, and he's on the east coast of Canada, and it's he's buried in snow.
A little different story.
Yeah, a little different. Not bad or worse or better, but just different.
Different.
So Ian Clark is the owner and the CEO of Activation Products, and two of their flagship products are the magnesium and the marine phytoplankton. So we're going to talk about magnesium and ocean minerals and his Oceans Alive and these types of things, and just find out, get to the bottom of why they're so important for our health and our longevity and all of that. So thanks, Ian, for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Justin and Kate. Yeah, appreciate being here as well. And yeah, we are under some white stuff out here for a long time. This has been the nastiest winter we've had in a long time.
Oh my gosh! Does I'm sure magnesium can't help you with the cold weather there, could it?
Well, There's a lot of things that can help. You got to, you keep in a good mood, and we do all kinds of things for that. So we just we appreciate the winter, because when the spring comes here, it comes to life like nothing anywhere, because it's under so much pressure to get to spring. So when it comes alive, it comes super alive, and that's we always have that to look forward to.
Oh, that's great. And what are the summers like there? Are the summers very warm?
The summers here are outstanding because we're right around the largest body of fresh water in the world, and we have a cottage about 4 hours north of where we are here, up in Georgian Bay. So it's spectacular here. I don't think you'll find a nicer place on the planet to come in the summertime.
We spoke with David Wolf a while back a couple times, and I think he spends a lot of time doesn't he spend a lot of time, Kate, up in the northeastern part of
Canada?
Canada, yeah. It's supposed to be a very amazing place. It sounds just beautiful.
Well,
the places that are north of as you go north of Toronto, you come to the Canadian Shield, and it's like there's a line on the earth, and all of a sudden the whole scene changes. You can totally feel it, and you're getting into what they call cottage country. So yeah, it's a totally gorgeous spot. Everybody needs to come here at least one time in the summertime and just see what's happening up here.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, can you see the northern lights and all of that up there?
Yeah, you get some of the aurora borealis coming in occasionally. I mean, we're not super far north. I used to live 700 miles further north than where we are now, up in Edmonton, Alberta, for about 26 years.
Oh, wow.
And you'd see a lot of them up there. I even flew into Norman Wells, which is another 1,000 miles north of there. I worked up there for 7 years on and off back in the 90s. And that was really nice to go up there and see it's just, Canada's a rugged place, and so you just got to be a little bit tougher than normal.
So how did you get involved with this kind of health kick and doing all the different things you're doing with magnesium and all that? How do you get involved doing all this?
Well, it all started with a major health crisis that just about took me off the scene. And it was based on being really dumbed down in regards to what I was consuming for food, how I was getting sleep, the water I was drinking, all the regular stuff that most people around me I thought could hack and put up with. But I was genetically predisposed, which I believe everybody is, to either be able to handle that or not. And I was in that category of not. I had two uncles on my mom's side die at 51 and 54 of cancer. At 46 years old, I was heading exactly down that rabbit hole.
Wow.
Just perfect timing. So I dealt with all of the issues that I could, but, with the doctors, but then gave up on them because they had no answers. So I just launched out and began to search and try to find people that really knew what was going on with health, and that led me to Los Angeles. So I ended up down there. It was actually, we just passed our 7-year anniversary on the 7th of February when the company started. So my problem started in 2004. By 2007, I was in the California world and starting to pick up all the information from down there. That's really, where the mother lode of information came to understand what's going on. And one by one, the definitive products showed up. And I've seen thousands of products. I've seen hundreds of therapies, dozens of different medical devices. I've really gone through a significant amount of filtering. And in our company, of course, we wanted to keep it very clear and definitive and simple. And we managed to do that. So all these products just showed up at the right time exactly. And the main whole foundation of our health was the raw marine phytoplankton. And that's been a mainstay right from day one till this day today.
Was that the first product that you sort of formulated and worked with?
That was the very first one.
Very first
and
one.
we had no idea where that was going to go. We were literally, playing with it. And then we realized, somebody might want this. So we were bottling product in the basement of our house in Toronto. And then it just grew from there. And it grew fast.
Yeah, I remember going down to San Diego to a lecture that David Wolf was giving. And Kate, you remember this? And,
a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah, a couple years back, and they were giving away free samples of the Oceans Alive marine phytoplankton. And at that time, Kate didn't want to take a thing of it because she just wasn't sure what it was. She'd never heard of
leery.
it. Yeah, she was a virgin in the health world, so she passed on it, and I took it, and it seems like it's a very salty mixture that you can take, but it contains all the minerals from the ocean. Is that right?
Yeah, well, it contains all the minerals from the ocean. It contains all the plant minerals, all the essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, all the key enzymes, polysaccharides, pigments. It is so far ahead of its time. We had no clue. And even today, I have some clue about it, but we're just in the process right now going through a major study in the University of Athens on what is actually happening inside that cell. There are more than 100 molecules, nutritional molecules, that have never been discovered that we have discovered. And looking at them, there's nothing to compare it to because they've never seen these before. And it's the foundational food.
So you're saying there's nutritional molecules that have not been discovered. Are these things existing in the ocean, or you mean they're existing in the body?
Well, no, they're existing inside the cell of this marine phytoplankton strain.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That have never seen, because nobody's ever dove in deeply to study that before.
Uh-huh.
And when you're looking at a molecule, you're looking at matching, DNA, and you're looking for various structures that are going to match, things that have been previously discovered. And so kind of, well, this is that and that is this. But there's more than 100 already that are unknown. But the reason this happened is because of the incredible effect that we have seen in people's health anecdotally, and trying to say, okay, what is really happening here? Why is this profoundly more powerful in supporting the human body's health when it's such a tiny little thing? There's only 2 microns.
2 microns.
And there's billions of them, but 2 microns is the size of each of the cells of the nano.
Isn't that crazy? Why do you think there's such a connection between us, and living in the ocean and ocean minerals? Because people talk all the time about how we should eat more kelp and these kinds of things. There seems to be some kind of weird connection with humans and the ocean, doesn't it?
Well, there is, in the sense that, it just depends on what you're looking at as far as what's supporting life on the planet. Like, you can choose any nutrient you want and remove it off the planet, and not very many things will die. But if you remove marine phytoplankton out of the ocean, which there's 40-some thousand different strains, everything in the ocean would die in a period of years, or mostly in months. And then everybody living on land would die as well, because it produces 70 to 90% of the oxygen that we breathe. So, like I said, this is so far ahead of us, because never in history has anybody been able to go into the ocean and harvest marine phytoplankton and consume it. That is not possible.
Is it because of where it dwells?
Yeah, because it's microscopic. It is all over the world. You don't know what you're harvesting. When they did the analysis for 3 decades to determine the various different strains and their uses, and they only discovered a few strains that are exactly perfect for human nutritional profile. And
how many strains did you say there were?
Right now we know of 3 strains, and we're only using one at this particular time. We're introducing a second one this year. But when you're looking at digestibility, usability in the body, because you have to choose the absolute top of the top when you're going to select a strain to produce on land, because, again, you can't harvest it out of the ocean. You have to put it into what's called a photobioreactor, which is a completely sealed unit, super high-tech. Everything is controlled to the maximum using direct sunlight, and you have to control it so much, because if you have anything off in the production environment, the batch will be lost and you'll lose millions of dollars in one production run.
My goodness.
It's a very high-tech thing. It took many, many decades from the time of the discovery of the strains that were the best, to be able to even grow it on land. It's not like spirulina or chlorella where you can just sort of grow it in a pond and it's been around for ages doing that. This is no environmental contaminants, everything's super sealed. You have to have exactly the amount of CO2 injected, and oxygen has to be off gas, and the temperature and the pH and the flow rate and all of these, super critical things that you have to do to allow marine phytoplankton to grow on land and have a success.
That's so interesting because, it's weird being a purist and that kind of thing. And you've heard over the years people have quotes of, Jack LaLanne, and they say if man made it, don't eat it, that kind of thing. And I know he's talking about processed food, but in today's world, it's really amazing. It seems, just what we're able to do in today's society. There's people doing similar processes with astaxanthin, where they're bringing these into a place to make that, and what you guys are doing. What do you say to people who really just like to eat, and not really supplement with these kind of high tech things like that?
Well, it's not the high tech you're supplementing. It's actually the problem with man-made things, and this is not man-made at all, but a man-made product is that which is extracted, synthesized, and processed, and so on. Mm-hmm. Or could be any number of things genetically modified. Mm-hmm. So the challenge in this age especially is to be able to get back to nutrition that is extremely pure, that is heirloom to the hilt. Uh-huh. I mean, nothing has ever been changed from the original. So that's where this key comes in, because we use technology to go all the way back to the original. So there is nothing that is man-made about this. And what you're doing is you're looking at getting the highest quality as well. So I'll give you an example. If you're gonna plant a garden, you want to have good mineralized soil, lots of essential microorganisms, all of the effective things that are going to help you grow that garden well. Then you go find heirloom organic seeds as much as you possibly can. You plant your tomatoes, zucchinis, cucumbers, etc. And at the end of the year, you harvest your garden, and you notice that, the flavor of certain plants have given you a little bit better quality. Mm-hmm. And maybe this plant grew a little bit better. Well, that's a thing that happens every single season in nature. And there's a process called genetic selection that very few people have ever even heard of. But if you had access to a multi-million-dollar lab with PhD scientists where you could take all of the seeds from your garden that you've collected from every single plant from that whole garden, and take all the seeds out of all the vegetables and fruits and whatever you're using, herbs and flowers, etc., and take them to the lab and say, hey, I want to know what are the very best quality of these seeds. Well, this has already been done before to prove this out, but nobody like you and I could do it because it's just not accessible to us. But if you did, 10% of your garden would be an average of 15% higher quality nutritionally, with better bricks and better minerals and better whatever, right? And if you could then take that 10% of those seeds that are 15% better than all the rest and plant that next year, your entire garden has a 15% upgrade. And that you can do year over year over year, because one of the phenomena in nature is every year it improves. But nobody's ever done that with their garden. Mm-hmm. So in 20 years, you'd have a garden that would just blow people's minds. It's like, what is that? Why is your garden like this? And why do I feel so good when I eat your food? Right. So that's called genetic selection, or a genetic improvement project. And you haven't changed anything. Uh-huh. You've only selected that which is naturally happening. In the marine phytoplankton world, they discovered this, a possibility. What was cool about that is they do have the multi-million-dollar lab, and they do have the PhD scientists that can look at very, very deeply into these nutritional properties. And they started in the middle of 2012 for us a genetic selection project that finished up in the spring of 2013. And they can select every single day the strain, because marine phytoplankton reproduces itself every day. Really? So all we do is we provide it an environment to naturally reproduce. If we don't provide that environment, it can't do it on its own. And then we select it and just kept re-inoculating the higher and higher and higher quality of that same strain. And within an 8-month period, they had a measurable improvement of 35% of this product. And that is exponential, because they couldn't even get 1%, just tweaking this and tweaking that, trying to make it improved, until they could actually measure, manage, and totally control the environment in which it was growing. So this is a major solution that is being provided right now for the planet, because if you just Google chemtrails, which I'm sure you're very aware of, okay, those chemtrails are everywhere in this world. That's one major problem. Second big problem, you have 1.8 billion pounds of rubber dust emanating into the atmosphere microscopically off the highways, because that's how many tires are wearing out when they measured just for the United States alone, just one country.
And so how many was that? 1.8 billion?
1 billion pounds. Okay?
Wow.
And that's only 5% of the world's population. That one country has that much going up in the air. They measured with helicopters 1.5 miles above the highways from the Venturi effect of the movement of vehicles down the highway, putting that microscopic dust up there. You're breathing it right now. Okay? That's how bad that is. And in China, where they make the tires mostly, they're concerned about one thing: quality. How long is that tire going to last? What kind of traction is going to have? They don't take out the mercury, cadmium, and lead and all the other nasty elements that are in those tires. And that is putting it out all over the world for the first time in history that we know of, in our lifetime for sure.
Wow.
Where we have that being spread over all the fields where all the food is being grown and all the animals are breathing, and all, et cetera, et cetera. So that is an indication that there's some pretty serious problems in this age, over and above every other age, where you're trying to grow something outside. Now, I'm not saying don't grow a garden, but the point is you better know how to detox when you're consuming that. So with us, what we're doing is we are getting into levels of purity that are unheard of. And yet we're supporting it from a natural standpoint. So as a human being, we're simply saying here, we see this incredible perpetual food that continuously replicates, and it does it perfectly. And if you give it the right nutrients and the CO2, and you do all these things, and you give it the proper amount of sunlight, it thrives. And that thriving is the absorption of the energy that all of our bodies work on, which is biophotons. So there's nothing in the planet that can pull biophotons into itself like marine phytoplankton and release them in your system.
Wow.
In June of this year, we're going to have an announcement that will completely eclipse every other nutrient about marine phytoplankton on the earth, and it will cause a problem. Because when that happens, every single drop will be desired by people en masse. And they don't even know it's coming yet. The reason I can't announce it till June is because we are under non-disclosure because of certain patents and various developments that are happening at a university level.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for that in June. That's going to be interesting. And maybe when we get back from the break, I'm curious when you just said biophoton. We've talked with a lot of people like Dr. Bob Marshall and Norm Shealy, and they talk about the photonic exchange of the plasma energy field that surrounds our body. And I'm wondering if the marine phytoplankton somehow enhances our electrical potential in our bodies and things. So maybe we can talk about that. This is fascinating stuff, and really, I mean, you're not going to find this really in that many places or people even talking about this. This is just amazing stuff. So we're with Ian Clark, and his website is activationproducts.com, and there'll be links to that on this show page, which is extremehealthradio.com/208. And I think it's time to take a break. And Kate, you're going to go get some One World Whey. And we'll be right back after this break. Kate and I have had our sauna for about a year now, I'd say, when we first got it from Phil Wilson. And it's an incredible machine. We use ours about every single day. Kate sits in about 20 minutes, and I sit in there about for a half hour. Usually watch a documentary, and it's extremely relaxing. It's really, really an incredible machine. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/sauna, you can learn all about it. We did an entire hour interview with Phil Wilson. You can check that out. You can look at the pictures of us with it. You can watch videos on that page. It helps you to sleep really, really well. You can lose a lot of weight with it. You can burn, I think, around 600 calories in about 20 minutes or so. It improves your skin. increases circulation all over the body, and circulation is critical for your health. You can prevent and reverse diseases with it. If you have a cold or flu, it's incredible. It heats you down to the core. It heats 4 to 6 inches inside your body, so it's really incredible. And a lot of people use it for cancer as well. So if you have any kind of incurable, quote, disease, you can use it for that. And Dr. Shade is the foremost authority on detoxification. And listen to what he says about it.
How do I detoxify from plastics? I mean, you guys are using a sauna, and what does a sauna do for us? A sauna is great. It's moving a number of different toxins. Remember, we talked about the mice that if you put PCBs in there, then that made the mercury all that much worse. And sweating moves out a lot of plastics, volatiles, fat-based toxins. It's really good at moving those out, sweating those out. So that's how you're getting those out, and those are contributing to this synergistic soup inside the body. And so that's why they're good, is they're taking out a bunch of the different things in the soup.
And Daniel Vitalis, one of our favorite guests. What do you have to say about the sauna?
When you go into the sauna, like a far-infrared sauna like you discussed, your body goes into a deep relaxation mode, and your sympathetic nervous system shuts down and your parasympathetic nervous system turns on. And when that's active, that's the nervous system, part of your nervous system that's active when you meditate. That becomes active, and your detoxification pathways open up wide. Why is this important? It's important because when you go running and you sweat, you're not necessarily eliminating very much toxicity from your body. But when you sweat in the sauna, you eliminate a lot of toxicity from your body. So sweating in a relaxed state is how we eliminate. The other thing is that what's wonderful about the sauna is that it puts you in a parasympathetic nervous system response, like as if you were meditating. So it's almost a hack. It's like a trick to get yourself into a meditative, relaxed state, to decompress stress, to reverse the effects of stress, and to get your body eliminating deep, deep toxicity that's stored in your body fat, because it can come out in the oils of your skin. So I think, sauna is one of the most crucial detoxification, really health practices that we can take on, especially in this era of heavy toxicity, particularly fat-soluble toxins.
The sauna is really, really great. They offer payment plans, because if you buy it through PayPal, it's 100% secure. You don't even need a PayPal account. I think you could do a payment plan through PayPal. It's got low EMF electromagnetic fields coming off of it. It's portable, so that means you don't have to knock down a wall in your house. You can just move it from room to room. It sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes. It's super easy to clean. All you got to do is wipe it down when you're done and wipe the neck down. And it produces energy and heat inside very, very evenly throughout the whole machine. All you have to do is sit in there for about 15 minutes a day. And the great thing I like about it too is it requires zero preheating. So you turn it on and you're starting to get warm and you're starting to detoxify with that far infrared light almost immediately. So it's really great. It comes with a 1-year warranty. It's about $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really, really a good deal, because if you look at most of the regular saunas out there, they are in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So this is really, really a good deal. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
Well, we're having a great time here with Mr. Ian Clark from Activation Products, and you can visit his website, activationproducts.com, or if you want to visit us, visit him through our link, extremehealthradio.com/208. You'll see the links to his pages on there, his products on there. And we were just having a great time talking about all kinds of different subjects, and I'm really curious about this this magnesium, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But the marine phytoplankton, Ian, I was wondering during the break if that was one of the products that you used to sort of overcome your own health issues back in the day when you were just starting to get into this.
Yeah, that was the key, and has been and is still and will always be the key to rejuvenating my body. That has been improved and improved over the 7-year period, and I have seen all the changes that happened as a result of that. So yes, that was really the key activator at the foundational level to get my health back on track.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, when you were talking before about the biophotons and things like that, does this kind of stuff increase the electrical potential of the body? It seems like it could, right?
Yeah, it's not so much of an increase as it is a perfect optimization.
Okay.
Because, your body is a super subtle energy field. And we know that electrical communication happens between the cells. We also know that there's interstitial fluid communication. But far more important than that is a major breakthrough discovery in Europe that will be released in the next 12 months, where they are in their little niche, highly advanced discovery mode. Just like we have a niche over here in North America. Well, that tiny little sliver of researchers in Europe are so advanced. It often takes 10 to 15 years for that information to finally get over here for whatever reason. Because there's planes flying back and forth, but it's the dissemination of information that seems to just have a difficulty getting out. Well, I can tell you right now that the major breakthrough is that they now know that all of your cells in your body, which have trillions of functions happening every second, is all by biophotons. So it is the speed of light. So each of your cells has a crystal within it, and crystals are what we use communication with for radios and communicating around the world is all crystals. So if that crystal formation goes down or gets altered or affected or blocked because of different stressors or toxins or contaminations, then you have a lesser and lesser communication between your cells, and you slow down. Your body is not able to communicate to get the immune system built up, to remove oxidative stress, to absorb nutrients, to detoxify, and to do all those things that you need to do to stay healthy.
So we want those cells to be able to communicate quicker and faster.
Oh yeah, when you're young and you're like, say you're 21 years old, right? 21-year-old can party their face off, eat out of the dumpster, and still have a beautiful glow to them.
Yeah.
Because right.
Yeah.
Because they have a biophoton communication happening that is not thoroughly interrupted yet, and they're aging one day at a time. So as oxidative stress comes in, and it comes in from multiple different ways in this age that we live in, of course, you'll have trillions of oxidative stress molecules. And if you know what you're doing and you're using certain enzymes, you can remove those very efficiently out of your body. And that's the key to making sure that you don't have that blocked, communication. People use all kinds of examples from, meridians to, your auric field to et cetera, et cetera. But we look at it from a very simple standpoint. And it is like this. And you've heard this before, so this is nothing new, but it bears re-saying. If you have your body is like a candle and you have a nice, sturdy, tall, robust body of a candle made from cappings beeswax, right? The purest of the pure. And the whole candle is made of that. And then you light that candle, the flame is so beautiful. It's just wonderful. It creates an aura in a dark room that's the size of, probably 2.5 feet across in diameter. And so you have this amazing body that's producing it, and they'll burn for thousands of hours, not 10 or 20 or 100 hours.
Wow.
So when we put the correct nutrients that have the full spectrum from a foundational food in our system, you are building that candle and keeping it built up. So it's only burning very, very slowly. If you don't, and stressors come on, your candle starts to burn quickly. The flame is poor because it's got contaminated wax, and it starts to burn fast. And so the older people get, the faster they age. And you see this all around you all the time. You'll see somebody at 50, you'll see them at 60, and you go like, whoa, what happened to you?
Right,
totally.
Right. You don't want to say that to them, but yeah.
No, but you say that to yourself. So, and I looked in the mirror at 46 and went, dude, really?
Wow.
Like, what happened to you? You look like a 70-year-old
Yeah,
idiot.
yeah.
So,
It's true, though.
you
That
know, and
hits you.
I didn't talk very nice to myself because I wasn't acting very nicely. And I deserved to have a little bit of anger put my way to wake up.
Uh-huh.
And I used anger at that point against myself to say, okay, all right, you're going to sit down and shut up and listen, and you are going to fix this problem or you're going to die. Which do you prefer? And you are going to suffer for this. You're going to have some fun as well. You're going to, you know, it's going to cost a certain amount of money, time, and energy. Good for you. You really got yourself in a position that nobody should ever get themselves into at 46 years old. So going back to why you would put certain nutrients into your system and what effect they're going to have. The cleaner fuel you put in, the more food you put in your system that burns super clean, that does not have hardly any oxidative stress factor to it, right? Where you're causing inflammation. That's the key. Because you don't want to have anything putting in your body that causes much inflammation. But we get inflammatory response from all types of things that we eat, even if it's organic.
That's true, yeah.
Clean burning fuel is the foundation.
Especially with people if they have food allergies, even if it's organic, you know, like you said, it's, you know, people can have...
Or just sensitivities, things that just don't work well, and yet we keep piling it in there and cause more problems. But.
So with the ocean minerals, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about minerals are really the name of the game. I've heard David Wolf say that, and he'll talk about, you know, minerals. It's not really about vitamins, it's about minerals. And you know,
and if you're properly mineralized, these things can't happen to you or attack you, or everything from morning sickness to disease. I mean, you hear about this stuff.
Yeah, he talked about it. He even went so far as to say one time, I don't know if this is true, but he said it's impossible to fool someone, to trick somebody if they're completely mineralized. I'm not sure about that, but his point was clear, though, that minerals really are you know, the name of the game. And so when you're getting... As far as I know, there's about 92 minerals, is that right, in the ocean?
Yeah, that's right. 92 known elements. There's probably thousands that they don't know about or understand yet, because in Asia and Europe, they kind of laugh at us over here. We're like the dummies, and not that we are. I mean, it's just the way that it is.
We're just so scientific, aren't we?
Yeah, when you talk about minerals and the effect in the body, you know, the people in North America, the gurus, and the people over here are 1/10 as advanced or in deep understanding as the scientists are in Europe. Here we have pseudoscience. Over there they have hardcore science.
Wow.
And I think it's because it's the old country. You've got Germans involved. You've got Italians involved. People that have just had that heritage passed on and on and on without interruption. So mineralization, there's actually patented frequencies that are totally known. That when you apply them to your body through a pulsed electromagnetic field, your body will absorb magnesium at this exact frequency. It'll absorb calcium at this one, selenium at this one, and so on. And these are patented technologies that nobody knows about.
But what do you mean?
There's only one company that ever used them.
So people will get these minerals in that frequency, or I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, what I mean is if you have those elements circulating through your system, you will absorb a certain amount. But if you were to apply this particular, if you were to put your body inside of a pulsed electromagnetic field that has that exact frequency profile, all of your cells go, oh, it's time to receive magnesium completely. And it all goes in.
Isn't
so
that,
you get a far greater absorption. So they are, I'm not going to say who it is because again, I'm under non-disclosure and this will all come out in the next 12 months. But there is a company funded by a government in Europe that completely reverses MS in 7 months. You could be totally crippled up in a wheelchair, all gone, right? All your lesions have blown right out and your communications right down. You're just immobilized. In 7 months, you're walking around like a normal person. And the entire thing is based on getting the crystalline structures back inside the cell using pulsed electromagnetic frequency and feeding the body these elements.
So what's going on with someone with multiple sclerosis? They're not getting these elements, obviously, right?
Oh man, their biophoton field and communications zapped hardcore. Wow. They've got all kinds of lesions and interruptions and and communication breakdown. That's what's going on, because they get all messed up. They can hardly walk anymore, and they're falling over, and they got to get canes and then walkers and then the wheelchairs. So obviously there's a massive deterioration happening on a communication level, and eventually it'll kill them. So the point is, though, that there is complete technology that proves that mineral deficiencies are the key problem with light communication within the body. So the biophoton communication counts on those crystalline structures to be inside of each cell, so you have more and more efficient communication. When you asked about ocean minerals, for example, the ocean, which is metabolized trillions of times a year using marine phytoplankton in the ocean, continuously replicating using the minerals from the ocean, sunlight, and CO2, that is converting ocean water over to a totally bioavailable, highly functional substance in your body. And you don't need very much of it, just small amounts. If you were to try to live on ocean water, you would die, not from the ocean water wouldn't kill you, but you would be dehydrated. And you would die from dehydration, not from the ocean minerals. So if you take a look at a human body's blood plasma profile, that profile is the perfect match to 1/3 diluted ocean water. And this Dr. Renee Ketone, and you've heard of the product, original ketone and quintessence, they call it now.
Yeah.
That product is phenomenal because it doesn't have marine phytoplankton in it. What it has is they go into a spring bloom and they pull the water from the center of the bloom. They filter out everything, all the impurities and all the phytoplankton, and everything is filtered out, because they're looking for the excretion of the fluid that is produced in the growing of the marine phytoplankton. And they don't know what strain it is, so they don't want that in there. And they have to do a super purification thing. Well, they dilute it 3 times, called isotonic, and Renee Ketone back in the early 1900s had more success than any doctor doing intravenous injections of the isotonic into the human body.
Wow.
Right? So it was replacing and repairing the communication structure in the body is what was going on. So when you're asking about electrical potential, that's one thing. I'm talking about biophoton communication, that the speed of light is way faster than electrical. And it's way cleaner.
So we have these biophotonic exchanges of light happening within our bodies all day long, all day, all night, whether we're sleeping or under stress. I mean, they're just happening whether we're thinking about it or not, right?
That's right. And you happen to be down in California, where you're getting lots of amazing biophotons directly from the sun. Where I'm up here in the wintertime. I used to always come down to California every month for a month, and I would get that glow of a Californian. I've been up here, and my glow I can definitely see my glow is not happening the way it normally is.
Wow.
And there's a whole release of information about lighting, artificial lighting that's coming this year. And all these things, I keep saying they're coming because they are, but I'm under non-disclosure. And when they are announced, you're going to scramble to make the changes that you need to make. So and I can tell you privately what they are, but it all has to do with artificial lighting. So every time you're in a house, now fortunately, you guys don't need much artificial lighting.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because with there's a lot of people doing work these days with ocean-grown wheatgrass, because wheatgrass
picks up the trace minerals.
Picks
apparently.
up all,
or more. Does it all of them or most of them?
Yeah, apparently it takes up all 92 minerals from the earth, and so what they'll do is they'll water the wheatgrass with diluted ocean minerals and things, but the amount of minerals that are in the marine phytoplankton are all 92, and so if the average person is just walking around and eating a standard American diet or standard Canadian diet, how many minerals do you think the average person is getting from their diet daily?
Well, they're getting a significant amount of minerals, but they're not high quality. And the other problem is they're getting all the stressors that come with it from the GMO and all the pesticides and herbicides and junk that are in the food. But the interesting thing is, I have met people that have not even concerned themselves whatsoever with their diet. Okay. And yeah, they're genetically predisposed to being pretty strong and healthy. They've never taken a supplement in their life. They've never taken a drug in their life. They're in their 70s. They did one thing. They spent a huge amount of time outside doing things like water skiing, doing things that were just highly active, where they had to be physically fit to the maximum to perform the thing that they loved.
Mm-hmm.
And they just happened to be really, really, really active and moving constantly, because the key to life is movement. So you've got a sedentary lifestyle happening with the majority of people now who are sitting in front of computers and playing games and whatever they're doing, riding in their cars, not walking anymore. They're not active. They're so stiff they can hardly move. If you get them to do something, they can't walk for a week. As far as a physical activity that would be fun, like water skiing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that and you go, okay, what's going on here? Here's a person that's brilliant. They even have mercury fillings in their mouths, which of course they shouldn't have, and that hurts them so much.
Right.
But even at that, they're detoxifying and they're overcoming all of this stuff, and they're amazing. They just kick butt on almost everybody around them.
Mm. So
what's going on with that? Now, if you could take a person like that and put them into the high end, the ultra foods and the superfoods and the all these things that we know about, right? That we're trying to get people who are in the sedentary lifestyle to, absorb in mainstream, which is the vast majority.
Yeah.
What if you put that in them? Well, of course, they're going to be that much more brilliant. And so it's just a matter of finding all the things that you can optimize every system in your body with. But the most important is staying active and moving and being vital and in a place where you can get a lot of sunlight, because the sunlight goes right through your pupils, right into your pineal gland, and it floods your body with biophotons there the most. And of course, then it goes in through your skin.
That's amazing.
So, we say, okay, get beauty from the outside in through sunlight and activity, and then get beauty from the inside out using things like marine phytoplankton and super pure magnesium products and super pure seed oils. And that's where we focus, going back to original, the foundational things where the core health happens.
That's so interesting. Is the marine phytoplankton, would that be considered a non-vegan product?
No way. No, it's total vegetable. It's a microscopic veggie. It's the ultimate microscopic veggie.
Okay.
Because it even has the essential fatty acids in it, which is the EPA. So EPA is that functional fuel that your brain and your heart and your nervous system uses. It's not the DHA. DHA is fine and wonderful. You get DHA wherever you want. We have a strain that has DHA coming out this year.
Okay.
But the most important is EPA, because that's what you burn all day. So when you go back to a foundational food, think of the exponential curve of abundance inside that, because the entire ocean lives and survives and thrives on that foundational food all the way up the food chain to the largest mammal that there is, which is the great blue whale, which is the healthiest, most powerful, largest living creature on the planet. So there, fish aren't vegetarians. I mean, dolphins are hunters, voracious hunters all day long.
Right.
Okay, so we're not talking about eating fish. We're talking about eating the very foundational food that everything has to count on in the ocean. It's 90 times more potent to you when it isn't consumed. So if you go to, for example, you get the marine phytoplankton is the most potent. One step up from that is the zooplankton that consume the marine phytoplankton. That's 90 times less potent, even though it aggregates. Then you go to krill that eats the zooplankton. Right? Then you got 90 times drop there. Then the krill are eaten by the fish. Well, the great blue whale eats krill all day long by the thousands of tons. But the point is that every time you go up, you're losing 90% and then it accumulates. Fish oil is a triglyceride 3 layers up at least, sometimes 4. So if you go back to the original, it's nano and it's phospholipid. Mm-hmm. So which would you like? Where do you want to go? So this is the ultimate vegan food. I mean, and I'm not concerned about vegan and titles and all that stuff. People that are very, very concerned about that, then we can certainly say, hey, you're concerned about these things. This perfectly fits. There is nothing that perfectly fits like this kind of thing, because it's foundational, it's super high end, but it's all natural and it's original heirloom.
That's amazing. So, and it's, I would imagine, pretty bioavailable too. If someone were to take it coming off a standard diet, do you think they'd be able to absorb most of it?
It's 100% bioavailable, because what happens is the cell wall is very soft, digestible, and it releases nanonutrients, and it goes right through your stomach wall. does not go through your digestive tract.
Oh.
It goes, other than it gets to your stomach and goes through. It goes directly to your bloodstream and is absorbable at the cellular level because you've got nanonutrients that can go right through the blood-brain barrier. It can go right into every organ, every cell, everywhere. So it is the most absorbable food, most bioavailable and assimilable, usable food on the planet.
Isn't that interesting?
And you see it right away.
Yeah, that's amazing.
How much is the average person taking a day? Or should we be taking?
Anywhere from 3 up to 15 drops.
Okay.
Because each drop has 5 billion cells in each drop.
Okay.
So there's 5 billion per drop. And you feel it. We've had women that have had chronic problems and issues for years, and within literally 15 to 20 minutes of taking 3 drops have noticed, like they say, is this placebo or what's going on? My headache just went away that I've had for years, dull headache. And what, is that possible? And weird stuff like that, where they suddenly have a whole renewed energy in their life.
Isn't that wild?
And I'm going, really? Like 3 drops? Really?
And they were just doing 3 drops a day.
Well, that's frightening because it shows how deficient and obviously it shows what they were missing. And
that's true.
That's sad, actually.
Right, it is. But that's who we're dealing with. Our business model is to get healthy people healthier. We don't go after diseased people and people that are down for the count and things. That's not where our interest is. Uh-huh. Our interest is in getting healthy people healthier. Well, what is standard health is not healthy. You and I know that, but we don't go and say that.
Right.
We just know that that's the case. Well, we want people to get better every single day because nothing feels as good as feeling good. Mm. And if you feel good today, can you feel better tomorrow? You know already the answer is yes. And if you do certain things, you could feel worse tomorrow or feel better tomorrow on a very gentle scale. Mm-hmm. 10 years from now, if you feel worse tomorrow than you do today, you're going to have the disease in 10 years or look a lot older or feel a lot worse because it just keeps adding up day after day after day. So, obviously we want to be going up a little bit and we want to be compensating to make sure that we're aging one day at a time.
So it says on your site there that it feeds your mitochondria. How does that work?
Well, there's an infinite number of mitochondria inside of every cell. Uh-huh. I don't know what's thousands of, some, like a brain cell will have 8,000 mitochondria. Oh, wow. So the mitochondria are just simply little processors that are looking for the proper nutrition that doesn't have junk with it. So when you eat, if a person goes down and eats a hamburger, you get all the inflammatory product that comes with the nutrients in a hamburger, uh-huh. They're going to have to go, okay, I'm filtering through all this crap to get the nutrients I need, but I got to deal with all this crap. Uh-huh. The mitochondria don't like that, right? And they don't do well with that. And things that get in the way between the mitochondrial functions cause a communication problem. So when you give it super clean fuel, it's like, yeah, okay, keep doing that. Keep giving me this, okay? I'll reward you by functioning a whole lot better. And we know that each cell has, depending on all of the membrane has to be right with the right lipids. You've got to have the mitochondrial fed properly. You got to have exchange of nutrients going in and out. You got to have any waste eliminated quickly and efficiently. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to have any buildup in the system. So there's many things that we can do to eliminate the need to detoxify. But at the same time, we're fully cognizant that being alive is dangerous mm-hmm. because you're going to get toxins breathing in. You're going to breathe more toxins in than you're going to ever eat.
And when we were talking earlier about toxins, you were talking about, I forget, 1.6 billion tons of the rubber, but we didn't even talk about the airplane and fuel and the exhaust coming from airplanes. I forget I read recently that there's something like, at any given time over the United States and Canada, there's like 9,000 airplanes in the air or something crazy. And all that stuff is also being dropped on us.
Yeah, it's not how many there are in the air. It's 50,000 takeoffs and landings. Oh. Every time a jet takes off, it's spewing raw fuel into the air because you can smell it near the airport. Well, nasty. Well, when you can smell it, it's in such a concentration, you got to get out of there. Don't be there. But that's dropping down per parts per million into areas where you can't detect it, but it's still there. 50,000 a day that take off in a country that only represents less than 5% of the population of the world.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So what are some of the things with this Oceans Alive? We were going to talk about both products, but maybe we'll have to do a different show on the magnesium because this Oceans Alive is just really intriguing to me. I didn't expect it to go this way, but With the Oceans Alive, I know that there's a lot of anecdotal things that you could talk about, and you're kind of limited in terms of saying what it can treat and cure, and you can't really use these types of words. But just from your experience with working with people and your own experience, what kinds of things are people seeing as a result of taking the Oceans Alive?
Well, the main thing that we get feedback on all the time, and we get people phoning in and leaving, messages with us and on, is to when you filter out all of the top level stuff, it's basically a very joyful, clear mental energy that happens to people. It takes a bit of time. They usually notice it the first day a little bit, and then, or depending if they're very deficient, they notice it a lot. But it's usually 90 days and beyond is where you really go, whoa, there's something going on. There's a mental strength. It's a strength factor. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that you can go and just all of a sudden lift a car up. I'm saying that you have a feeling of strength within you that's where you've charged up your battery. So it's a super battery charger. Just like, building that big robust candle of cappings wax made from beeswax, right? That's what we're talking about, is getting that thing clean and nutrified. So you have a total draw, and you get confidence that you've got something you can draw on at all times. So it's a mental, joyful energy and strength, and also a physical well-being of feeling that extra tapping into a strength or a reserve of energy that you've never had before. And I noticed that definitely myself. And I'm going, what is that? What is this feeling? Mm-hmm. And then that's how I described it. And that's how other people come back. And I said, well, is it like this? And they go, yes, that's what it is. So that was number one. Cognitive ability sharpens up tremendously, because when you're in a great mood, you think better, you're more creative. So all the creative juices start flowing. And that's what turns people onto this. The other thing that happens is they suddenly have a much, much higher level in seeing how healthy they can actually get. It's like, wow, I didn't know I could feel this good. Mm-hmm. I wonder let's see how far we can take this. So it was the ultimate activator. And so those are the feedback. Other than that, we've had the most crazy testimonials that we would never publish. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's stuff that it could have been placebo, it could have been who knows, or it could have been just actually that worked for that person, because everybody's so uniquely different. Mm-hmm. that when they take it into their body, it's going to have that effect personally for them. And the one mistake that I don't know how much time we have, but the one mistake that we made as a company is we didn't make sure that people knew the importance of having it palatable to their taste, so they would enjoy it when they took it. Oh, okay. A lot of the hardcore raw foodists were squirting it right into the mouth. Well, it is very, very strong, and some people really love it, but the vast majority don't. So finding that juice that works for you, that you put it in, that makes it taste amazing, is so important. So you don't shock your nervous system and your brain goes, you know what, I like that, I'm going to do that again. So it's really important, no matter what you're taking, you've got to put it in something that makes it taste good for you to match your palate.
I see.
How do you personally take it, Ian?
I just take it in water because I enjoy the taste of the ocean essence. It's like it's a fresh ocean drink to me.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I saw, Mike Adams has been doing a lot of work lately. He's got this underground lab that he does. Have you seen that? Where
totally.
He's testing all these products, and
it's like a mad scientist.
He is, and so I think I may be wrong, but I believe that he did that with the Oceans Alive, didn't he? When he tested it against a couple of different products as well.
That was many years ago, before he got into that high-tech lab. But
okay,
and Mike's doing some really powerful work to find out what's really happening in these super processed foods and a lot of the powders that are put into the market, and the things that we, a lot of the times we call superfoods, and they've absorbed all kinds of nasty stuff from the elements of the earth that we don't want in our body. Right. And we're kind of a little bit irresponsible when we take certain foods from certain places that we're not aware of. Mm-hmm. So he's trying to find that out for us. There's a lot of stuff that I would never take anymore as a result of just the way I felt after I took them. I'm like, why do I feel so crappy?
Right.
But with the labs that we use as far as analysis, we go to 5 points on the other side of the decimal place, like 99.99999 pure.
Wow.
And you have to take it to those levels, because anything less could have a certain element. Your body just doesn't want to have certain elements coming in, and that's what Mike is out there doing. He's looking for that type of thing. Our labs are infinitely more sophisticated because we're talking about it from, a monetary standpoint.
So interesting. So with the Oceans Alive, you got the 30 milliliters and the 100 milliliters. Obviously, there's a size difference. Is there any other difference other than the amount?
No. It's just
a bigger.
The only difference in our product is it was constantly improving over the years until now it's pretty much maximized. I don't know if we can take it any higher than it is now at this point.
Okay, interesting. And so what would you recommend for someone who is interested? Maybe just try out the 30 milliliters and see how they go with that? Or how much, are certain people going to need more if they're athletes, or how does all that work?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question, because we've had all kinds of people, from athletic people to business people that are under massive stress doing huge projects that require super brain power, to, moms at home, to children that are learning at school. So what we recommend is that everybody starts with a lower amount, and just to see where that sweet spot is for you.
Okay.
Because your body is going to resonate at a certain level. So we across the board, as far as maintenance, we recommend 15 drops a day for a person that's 150 pounds.
15 drops. So drop per pound, or drop per 10 pounds.
Yes, exactly. Okay. And so with children, you just adjust that. But I have a guy that I know very well, that I've known for many years. He's a long-term friend of mine. And he and his family run a business where they do tail tips. And he built a multi-million-dollar production facility, in 6 months that would have taken a normal person 2 years. And he came to me after he did it, because I wasn't there with him when he was doing it. I just knew it was going on. He said, I was doing 5 full droppers a day, all the way through the day. And he said, if I didn't have that, I could never have done this. He said, it kept me so tuned in and so focused on what I had to get done. Wow. And it just gave me that drive and energy that I would never have experienced in my life before. And so, I saw that kind of stuff happen. That's sort of at your super high level. Yeah. And so anybody that's highly active physically or mentally is going to consume more and more as a fuel. It's great for children in school, definitely for learning. It just brilliant. It makes the child that's brilliant even more brilliant. It gets a child that's, average or below average, way above average. You'll see all those kind of things. So, we just recommend that each person find their sweet spot in there, because, some people it's 3 to 5 drops. Mm-hmm. That's not great for sales, but that's where it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So.
Totally individual. Have you found it to be safe or even beneficial for animals, pets and things?
Yes. Yeah. We know people that use them with their pets all the time. Okay. Very small amount is required, like 1 or 2 drops. And you can actually put it on your finger and they'll lick it off.
Okay.
Even in its straight form. Some animals just thrive on it, just love it. So farm animals, like we have a farm and all of our animals get it.
That's so great. And so you could use it, sort of just kind of figure out what your dose is and make one bottle last a month, kind of a thing, so that people can get an idea of, if they're going to be buying 2 bottles a month or 1 bottle a month, they can kind of just work it to their own system and figure that out. And that's all part of, I think something we've been talking about lately is listening to your body, right? Mm-hmm. And being in tune with what your body really needs.
Yeah, that's for sure. Everybody's so unique in their background and their current genetic status. So yeah, it's just finding that place, no matter what you're doing. Uh-huh. And it's, the cool thing about what we have got, and the one thing that I wanted to make sure we had, was that it would be for everyone across the board, because these are not supplements. Even though we have to by law call them a supplement, it is not a supplement. These are a whole food, non-tampered with nutrient that your body knows exactly what to do with. And every person resonates very well with them. So there's nothing in them that could be allergic reaction-wise. There's just nothing. And if a person has any kind of allergic reaction to most things, you know what the problem is? Is a mold matrix. There's how many different types of toxic mold in the world. And this is the other thing that we didn't even talk about. But mold, on another show we'll talk more about mold, but I am connected to people that are at the depth of research when it comes to what the mold is doing. Because it's not the mold that gets you, it's what the mold is producing as an off-put. Okay. That goes into your system, and that's the tough part. So mold is the core, like Candida is an issue. these toxic molds. You could walk into a building and breathe mold in the air that you don't even know is there, and that could turn into lung cancer 15 years down the road. And you could be eating the healthiest ever, and if you don't know how to get that mold out of your system, it will sit there. It will form a matrix that will become so powerful it'll overcome you.
It's almost like a mushroom mycelia, right? It's almost like a web inside your lungs or something.
It is that, exactly. It's a very intricate web that has full communication within your system. It has a biofilm and a shield upon it that keeps it very, very safe and protected from most things that people try to detoxify mold with. Wow. There's only 3 elements that I know of that get mold up. 2 of those are a certain specific seed oil that has been proven in Europe to break right through that biofilm.
Are you at liberty to say what that is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's black cumin, which is Nigella sativa, and coriander.
Okay.
The problem with black cumin, every single company on the planet that produces black cumin, except for us, and this is not bragging, this is a statement of fact, they do not have the mechanical capacity to produce it with their cold expeller presses in a safe manner that does not release, because of stress and friction, the essential oils of black cumin that are toxic to the human body. So if you buy a damaged black cumin oil on the market, you are limited to 2 teaspoons a day maximum, and above that you will be toxic. You can take bottles of the product that we produce and drink them and have absolutely zero toxic response because there's not any of the essential oils. It all depends on how you get the oil out of seeds, and that keeps them bioavailable. It doesn't damage them at a molecular level. It doesn't allow the oxidation factor, and it's just a totally different universe. And most companies could never even dream of pressing coriander to begin with. Coriander has such a low amount of oil in it, it would ruin all their equipment if they tried, and it would wreck the oil as well.
Right.
We can press coriander seed oil 24/7 without any damage to equipment or the oil at all.
So black cumin and coriander,
black cumin,
and what's the other one?
And coriander.
Oh, okay. And there was 3 that you said get rid of mold, right?
I think you just said 2.
Well, there's 3, but the third element is definitely under non-disclosure at this point.
Oh, I see.
But that's fine. And it's not, you don't need the third one when you have these 2 oils.
Isn't that interesting? Mold, yeah.
It's always the more the merrier, right? When you have certain other things. But the reason I can't disclose is because the research is not completed on it yet.
I see.
But we see very strong indication that it removes mold. But we do know for a fact that black cumin oil and the coriander are number 1, number 2 punch. The other thing that the coriander oil does is it pulls heavy metals. And we have a person that had a lethal level of Crohn's disease in their body. In other words, it had blown out so far they were way advanced with it.
Really?
Within 30 days of just the coriander oil, they had completely removed that problem. Now that's unique and individual to that person. That doesn't mean that happens with everybody, right?
Wow.
So all I know is it worked. No more symptoms after 30 days.
Is there a mold component with Crohn's, do you think?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's mold and heavy metals combined.
Isn't that interesting? Crohn's. Wow. And so the same could probably be said with IBS and colitis and those types of things too, I would imagine.
Yeah, those are just milder versions of Crohn's.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Isn't that wild?
Interesting.
Well, this was going to be a show about both your staple products, the magnesium and the Oceans Alive, but I just got so fascinated with the Oceans Alive, I could still go for another hour. But one last question on the Oceans Alive. Would it be good for pregnant women? I believe the answer is going to be yes, but I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, we've had medical doctors and naturopath doctors recommend it to pregnant women, particularly because the nutrient molecules in there are what's used to not only keep your brain healthy when you're an adult, but to help form the brain. So it's laying that brain in there in the womb. So pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy, and post-pregnancy is critical. You wouldn't feed the baby directly until they were, probably 1.5 to 2 years old, because they're getting everything through the breast milk. But yes, on the pregnant women for sure, because there are no contraindications, as it is a whole food that is the most powerful nutrient that you're going to be able to get on the planet.
Interesting. Golly, this is great stuff. For those that are listening live, we're going to be signing off with Ian Clark now, and we're going to let him go because he's a busy man. He's got a company to run. And if you'd like to listen to what Kate and I have to talk about further about Ian and his products and all that, check out the podcast at extremehealthradio.com/208. And so I want to thank you for joining us on the live show, and we're going to be signing off now. Okay, Ian, thanks so much for that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, no, that was great. I was, like I said, I was going to talk with you about the other products too, but this was just so great. There's so much there. Yeah, perhaps we'll do another show if you're available on the magnesium. Yeah,
the magnesium is a whole different world because it's ultra pure. It's like to the 5 decimal places on the nines.
Uh-huh.
And it's the structure of the magnesium chloride hexahydrate that's the key, because you can jump in a bathtub with magnesium sulfate and have a wonderful benefit from that. But it's very, very short-lived. It goes in and it goes out of your system.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need that. When you've got the magnesium chloride hexahydrate, it is structured so that it holds in your system for a period of time for you to use as a reserve energy. And that's that's the difference. And it's also the way that it's produced, where you implode the molecules into the solution. That's the other thing. So you can get a far higher concentration without fallout.
Uh-huh.
You can put you can ultrasaturate the fluid with this element. And then when you put it in your skin, you see a total difference between that and any other magnesium product in the market, because it doesn't sit in your skin. It's just gone in about a minute and a half, and you will feel it. And if you have a stiff joint, an aching elbow or something like that, you put it on, it's usually 1.5 to 2 minutes and that pain's gone, that ache is gone. It'll come back. It'll come back the next day because it's an overcalcified joint. And it will take, it could take weeks or even months until that's finally gone. But when it's gone, it's gone. Because it's rebalanced all the calcium that is built up in your system back in a marriage with the magnesium, which then your body innately has intelligence to redistribute throughout your system where you need it.
And what's so great about that is that you can, if you apply it topically versus ingesting it, you don't get the digestive issues and cramps and diarrhea and things like that,
Well, it's the worst thing you could do is to ingest large amounts of magnesium, because when you do that, what you're doing is actually causing a peristaltic action that dumps nutrients before they're fully utilized, and it will also deplete your minerals. When you get a liquid bowel movement, forget it, man. That is not cool.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys also mentioned the wheatgrass. We went through that whole wheatgrass. We call it the wheatgrass era. It was way back at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
And we were growing 10 trays a day, the big trays, every day, planting and harvesting 10 a day.
Wow.
Gee.
And we were using the ocean grown, and then we used the grow pile, which was far more effective.
Uh-huh.
And we were juicing like crazy, right? And I built myself up to 12 ounces a day of wheatgrass.
Oh my goodness.
It took, a few months to get there. And then I noticed, it's way over the top.
Wow.
There's no way that's cool. And when you're growing it in a house, you're getting a certain amount of non-toxic mold, but nonetheless, that is building up in your system that your body simply does not like, and it would not naturally ever get.
That's true.
If you're just popping over to the wheatgrass, bar, or if you buy the frozen wheatgrass that's harvested from outside and you might do an ounce a day, no big deal. It doesn't benefit you greatly. It doesn't hurt you greatly. But when you're doing a large quantity, my libido disappeared.
You're kidding.
And I'm like, no. And I'm
Really?
like, wow, that's, everything still functioned.
Uh-huh.
I could still be stimulated because I've been married for 31 years and we have always nurtured a very healthy, natural type relationship. Never got into anything weird there.
Uh-huh.
And so that it worked, but men are affected visually, right?
Uh-huh.
Right.
And I noticed that there was no more effect. Right? And I'm going, actually, this is kind of nice in a way.
Wow. Yeah.
But what I found out is that if you continue down that rabbit hole, you lose it completely from wheatgrass, because it has something in it that just completely annihilates the male libido.
Isn't that
And it doesn't
wild?
seem to it. Isn't that weird? Anyway, I found that out from Fred Beacey. You know Fred?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that just came up in conversation one time. He goes, "Oh man, you did all that wheatgrass juice? That ruins male libido." I went, "No way." Is that okay? Now I see what.
Yeah. And he's a hardcore raw foodist.
10 months, right?
Yeah. And he's been doing raw food for 60 years, hasn't he?
He's the most advanced. There's nobody on the planet that has pushed the raw food envelope like that guy.
Yeah.
Nope. He's a very interesting guy, right? And he's done 43-day fast and torn his body right down to 89 pounds. And he's done all of those things, taking it right to the maximum.
Wow. So, that's amazing. Well, thanks for the tip on the wheatgrass.
You don't meet guys like Fred.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the tip on the wheatgrass. I didn't know that. I'll make sure not to overdose on that.
Yeah, you just saved our marriage. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Or years of therapy.
How much do you charge for that?
Yeah, the one thing I did learn in this whole process is that we are so conditioned in our life, in our natural life, to have sex as the focus. Sex is core central. And that is a messed up deal because it is not. It should absolutely never be core central. It should be a complementary part of our life that is involving the expression of genuine compassion, passion, and love between a man and a woman in a pure sense that always builds up a momentum of love. Because when sex, this old friend of mine that died in 2012 at 97 years old, he was a lot of wisdom, and he said the big problem with men and all these young boys that are growing up to hit adolescence, they get into sex, they totally fall in love with sex. That's what they fall in love with. Yeah. And they can't distinguish that between the love of the woman and the love of sex. And what happens is because there's so many different women out there, and this world that we live in now is so available to different women, they just think, oh, well, I love sex, so I'll have sex with this one, this one, this one, and this one. And that's where relationships break down because the guy steps out of that bond, right, that covenant, and he has sex with other women. And, of course, that brings cross-contamination physically. If he doesn't tell his wife or his girlfriend what's going on, he brings all that energy and that contamination from that other woman back into her body. And she knows something's up, but she can't figure out what it is. Wow. So that's when sex is core center. It's never to be that. And that took me years to finally go, oh, that's how it works. Yeah. It's only complementary, and it's no different than anything else I do in my life. Everything should be in kind of this equal category. But man, I've never seen an age where they get tantric stuff and they get all this stuff where it becomes the super focus point. Like everything is kind of geared towards the ultimate sex act,
Yeah. And then what they do is they make these determinations, or they judge us, or they'll make judgments about how healthy you are based on how often it happens, and it becomes this whole
performance level
point of reference, for people.
That's right. Yeah, the guy goes, every time I wake up in the morning, and it's like, who cares, dude? Like, really?
Totally.
The whole society's gone there.
Yeah.
Which is messed up. We know that it's not balanced, and we know that it causes all kinds of problems. There's nothing more devastating than having a lack of faithfulness in a covenant relationship.
Right.
There's nothing more devastating. It just wrecks everything. Even in so-called the loose world of Hollywood. Look at the breakups that happen there because somebody deviates. And these guys are there's strings of women waiting for that guy all day long before he gets home.
Right.
Well, that's out of balance. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
That's so messed up. So when it comes to sexual health, it's a major key part of overall health. So if a guy's out there, tapping girls all the time, or a girl's out there tapping guys all the time, there's no way they're healthy. They've got so many cross circuits happening simultaneously, and they think, oh no, it's just a natural thing. It's cool. Everything's cool.
Right.
No, it's not. It just gets. It's like the way it was described to me by this other guy is that it's like you have a pane of beautiful glass, but it's been broken. It didn't fall, but it's just got. Every time they had sex with the next person, it made another crack in the window until the window was just filled with cracks, and it's very fragile.
Wow. And
just one touch at the last moment, the whole thing completely shatters, and that's when it all comes down. So I don't believe in that stuff, and I think part of the major part of health overall is proper sexual health with real respect and keeping ourselves not contaminated and not contaminating everybody else. It has got to be one of the most unpopular subjects that could ever be talked about.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
Well, we will be not taking the wheatgrass then. That's a little bit less.
Well, I wouldn't say that you stop wheatgrass, because 1 ounce a day is not going to affect you either way.
No, I know, but yeah.
But hyperdosing, no, definitely don't do that.
We'll lay off the 12 ounces.
Every hour. Just kidding. This is fascinating.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you're so busy. I really appreciate this.
That's awesome, Ian. Thanks.
You guys too. I appreciate you having me on the show, and that was fun. And we'll see where it all goes. And I'm here to support whatever we can, and to get people aware of what's happening.
Excellent. Thanks, Ian. And we'll be in touch soon. I'll send you the podcast as soon as I can get that posted live on the site, and then so you can share it or whatever you like with it. And then I'll also be in contact in the future for another show. I think that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Well, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Well, that was an interesting show, wasn't it? Mr. Ian Clark?
I can't believe that we only got to one of the two subjects. That's insane. You could talk probably 8 times that just on the phytoplankton alone.
Yeah. What do you think about what he was saying about the multiple sclerosis? That was crazy, isn't it? He was talking about people that were in wheelchairs and almost completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine, if it can do that kind of thing for people. Like he said, they're in the business of making healthy people healthier. Mm-hmm. They're not really focused on the people with a lot of major health stuff, although it doesn't obviously hurt when you look at those stories.
Right.
This stuff just seems to be amazing for whatever stage of the journey of health you're on.
Yeah.
Or wanting to be on. I thought what stood out to me was the pineal gland issue.
Really?
It just keeps coming up in so many of our interviews with people, and I thought, something about this. The pineal gland seems to be, from what we know, so responsible for so much of our clarity and how we absorb things and how we think about things.
I'm sure.
It has to be.
Just with the pineal gland, and I'm sure it affects your outlook on life, and it affects how you view the world, and
how motivated you are, how you get things done, like that. I don't know if it was a friend. Was it a friend of his who the example he was talking about?
Oh yeah,
building that multi-million-dollar building and business, and in a fraction of what it would have taken people.
Yeah,
and that just really hit me as far as. Lately you and I have been talking, and I feel like personally I've seen some mental blocks in my life, and I'm still kind of working through those, and maybe that is or is not the case, but I'm so keen to try anything that people tell me might be able to help me just kind of see more clear and turn more inward and just find that self-motivating factor in there, and just being able to find new motivation in any way possible. So I think there's a lot going on. I'm excited to see what his big announcement will be.
That
he wasn't able to talk about. It's a little.
I wonder if he's going to post that on his website.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. But if not, the next time we have him back to talk about the magnesium, maybe at that point he'll be at liberty to discuss. But there's been a lot of things going around about the phytoplankton and the condition of our oceans and things that are happening, and how, if those things start getting killed off and shut down, due to chemtrails or other things, pollutants we're putting in the air.
Remember we're
in a heap of trouble.
Remember what Ed McCabe was talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because he was talking about how the marine phytoplanktons responsible for 1/3 of the oxygen on the planet or something?
Was that the caliber of?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and so Ian was saying the same thing. How important it is.
We don't think about it, but whatever it was that Ian was talking about or going to talk about sounds like it's a big deal. It's a little frightening, but.
What do you mean?
I'm thinking, oh gosh, like if we're in trouble with the plankton, or they're, whoever they are is trying to do something to our ecosystem, which seems to be the case in a lot of damaging ways. So what does this mean? Does this mean people are going to want to get their hands on this plankton? Does it mean we're going to run out of plankton? Does it mean we're going to have to superficially, there could be so many things involving an announcement that it just kind of makes you wonder. It could be obviously really good and really scary all at the same time. But
I'm curious. I should have asked him. I forgot. I get all these questions, and I've tried to steer the conversation in a good way. Actually, the whole show was going to be half talking about marine phytoplankton and the other half talking about magnesium. But I think what we're going to do is set up another show and talk to him about magnesium. But I wanted to ask him about the phytoplankton and whether or not it's an issue, the whole Fukushima thing and the radiation.
I had that exact same question.
Golly, I forgot.
That's okay. It's great to have him back. I have so many more questions for Ian.
Talk further, yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge one for me too. I thought,
because it sounds like they're sourcing the phytoplankton from somewhere, obviously in the ocean, and then they're bringing it into their own laboratories and things. And it's crazy to me to think. these things are, I don't know how many microns small, and they're microscopic, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing that there's people out there doing what he does, because imagine if someone gave you the assignment of doing this. I mean, how would you even go about, sourcing this and realizing that there's different strains and what strain, and then you figure out, okay, there's 3 strains or 20 strains that there are, and then figuring out which one of those 20 work for the human body, and then figuring out how to process it so that it's absorbable. And I mean, I don't even understand how he goes about starting a company in this way. I mean,
if anyone could be in our studio at least once, if not twice a week,
crazy. Half
the things we do is sit here and just shake our heads at each other. That's all we do. It'd be so funny to watch.
Yeah.
When the person's talking, we're just sitting here looking at each other, shaking our heads.
Oh my goodness.
How in the world?
Yeah.
Thank God they do what they do, and that they have so many people with different passions and different amazing products. And I'm really extra interested in looking into that coriander and black cumin product.
Yes, definitely. Ian's really, really interesting. I mean, he's recommended by David Wolf, and I've heard about his products from so many different people within the health field that we know about, and people we highly respect, and known about his products for years. So it was really cool to talk to him and talk to him about these. He's really only got a couple products on his site, doesn't he?
I've been on there about 6 or 8 maybe.
But he's only got, I think, maybe 4 that are there, and then different sizes of those those 4.
Let's see, the Ocean's Alive, the magnesium, you're right, 2 different levels, the black cumin, the Panacea 5 oil blend.
Is that what he was talking about?
Flaxseed and coriander.
Is that what he was talking about with the Crohn's disease?
That was the coriander, I believe.
But he has a product that does that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The mix of the black cumin and the coriander, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah, he has about 7 or 8 products.
So if you want to go and try these products out, I would highly recommend them. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/oceansalive, all one word, and oceans is plural. It's extremehealthradio.com/oceansalive. You'll see there at the moment, I mean, if you're listening to this 3 or 4 years in the future, who knows what the prices will be. God only knows. I used to be able to fill up my car for $10. So, but there's a 1-month trial offer for $39 there. It says for the Life Energy Marine Phytoplankton, and then you can get if you get it shipped to you every month, you can get it for $36.
Oh, that's not too shabby.
Not too bad. No. I mean, heck, if you're going to be doing multivitamins,
right,
from Costco or something like that, you might as well do something like this.
Yeah, right.
Where you're getting all the minerals and things. And we actually didn't even take a second commercial, did we?
No, we didn't have any time.
Yeah, I did not want to break the conversation. That's happened in the last, 3 or 4 shows?
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
That second commercial was going to be for the One World Way.
Are you going to make fun of me again?
Which is your favorite product?
Well, I have to go make a smoothie right now. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep shoveling spoonfuls of the powder in my mouth.
How many spoonfuls have you had today?
1.5.
That's so funny.
Probably 1.5 scoops, not even a spoonful. I can't get enough of it.
Really?
Something's going on with me right now, and I'm just rolling with it.
Maybe your body.
I just think I'm lacking One World Way vanilla protein powder.
I know, right?
Whatever it is, I love it, and it makes me feel good. So I'm not going to judge myself. And
when you did it on an empty stomach, did you do it this morning?
I had a couple pieces of pineapple, and then I waited about a half hour, and then shoveled protein powder on top of it. Straight protein powder. And the last 3 days I've been craving it and adding it into my diet. I haven't felt bad on an empty stomach, or like it needs to be blended with something to feel good. It's probably not ideal just to be scooping into your mouth, and it's so expensive, but
yeah, it's worth
whatever.
it.
I guess that's my little vice right now, right? The bigger problem is, why do I need a vice? I'm still looking into that.
That's a whole separate emotional issue. We'll get to the bottom of that.
I'll get my pineal gland cleared out, and then I can address that situation.
Oh my gosh. So if you guys are interested in that One World Way, it's got 25 grams of protein in each scoop. That's one of the reasons why I love it, but it tastes amazing, and it's raw, it's organic, it's grass-fed.
Yeah.
Protein powder, which is amazing.
Can't get, I don't think, in my opinion, any better than that. But
yeah, if you're interested in that, you can listen to the show. We did that with Stephen Hurer, extremehealthradio.com/88. And that's just an incredible product. So, but yeah, we just cut that commercial short because we didn't even play it because there's just too much to get to with these guests, isn't there? We're gonna have to figure something out.
We need clones. Let's work on clones of ourselves. How about that?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
clones of ourselves to get more done. So
they're working on that.
Talk longer. Everyone can have a clone. We can talk for hours and hours, and also get our work done, and also
that would be cool. Do your
mineralize
laundry.
ourselves. Do our laundry.
We're supposed to be like the Jetsons. We're supposed to have our own robots, living around the house.
Yeah. Where's my flying car?
I saw something online the other day or today that was these little tiny things that are going to replace oxygen tanks for scuba divers and for firemen when they go into fires and fight fires.
Really?
It actually converts oxygen like how fish use gills, and it's a tiny little thing.
Really?
And it looks like they're made out of plastic, and it would allow someone to scuba dive for hours.
Why were you putting it over your chest? It goes over your head, your mouth.
What
You're going like this.
Oh yeah, because it comes off. It's like a little tube. It's like a
mouthpiece.
A mouthpiece, yeah, just like a tube.
I gotcha.
But then it comes off for about 6 inches on either side.
Okay.
And they act as gills.
Wow.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm looking for flying cars.
Right. I'm just looking.
We still haven't
I'm just
had
looking
those
for
yet.
oxygen. Well, that's fascinating.
Maybe if Ian could use those to source the phytoplankton, he could source more of it.
Wow. Maybe he could. He's personally down there cleaning the bottom of the ocean,
scuba diving himself,
scooping stuff up, collecting the phytoplankton and phytoplankton carriers.
I have a feeling he's not the one doing the sourcing.
No, I wonder who is though. That'd be an interesting job.
Scuba diving down there. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. It's time for us to go make some smoothies and some juices and things like that. This is extremehealthradio.com/208. And you'll find the links to the products that Ian talked about if you're interested. extremehealthradio.com/Oceans Alive on our show page, extremehealthradio.com/208. You could either go to his website, which is activationproducts.com, and purchase them that way. Or if you'd like to support our work and what we're doing, you can purchase through our link and we'll get a little commission. So that would help us continue our shows for free. And so that would be a great way to support us. And if you'd like to continue the conversation, we'd love to have you join our exclusive forum that we have for extremehealthradio.com listeners. And there's links to the forum on our website currently, and you can sign up. It's free, and you can continue the conversation about these types of cutting-edge health issues and health protocols and things like that. You can join our forum and chat with the other listeners in there, and that would be a great way to talk with other people and make friends in this type of world. So feel free to do that. And also, if you want to join us on Facebook, stay up to date with our shows and all that kind of good stuff, feel free to do that. And we're going to go make some smoothies and some juices and all that Tommy rot, as my mom says. She says Tommy rot. So thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. And if there's ever anything we could do for you, please let me know. And I'd love to help you out in any way possible. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information